All right, guys, we are on part 3. So last part of this week's lesson. So we used some of those guiding questions and looking for detail skills to look at these pictures. Now we're going to do the same types of skills to look at the reading. Okay, so step 1, you will read the expert from early in R.F. Scott's 1911 exploration of the South Pole. Notice that this is written in journal form and will set up comparisons to other entries. Notice how Scott's impressions read almost like imagery in a prose poem. As you read, use the guiding question handout from your image investigation and locate the topic, information, and ideas sections. These questions will help focus your reading. As you read, think about the question, what information or ideas does this text present? So we're going to read it once, and you're going to focus in on these idea questions. So they're highlighted in yellow right here, okay? So before we read, we want to think, what stands out to me? What do I already know about this topic? And we can think about those pictures, right? Because these are pictures that goes with this journal. So we already know that we're going to be reading about explorers, right? We're going to be reading about what they saw when they were going through the frozen tundra, okay? So now that we did our before, what are we going to do during? We're going to think of what information or ideas are described in more detail. Okay, so maybe we're going to get more information here than we got from the pictures, okay? So what goes into more detail, and then what other connections do I make as I read, right? There are 3 types of connections you can make. Text to self, text to text, text to world. So you make a text to self connection, you go, this reminds me of a time when I... Text to text is when you go, oh, this reminds me of another time when I saw this information in a book, or I saw it on a documentary film. Okay? Text to world. This reminds me of something I heard, that should be heard about. Okay? So maybe you heard about a similar situation on the news. So as we're reading that, making those connections, and think about the big one here I want you to focus on, the big question is, what information or ideas are described in more detail? Excerpt, Chapter 5. Deport line to 1 ton camp. Thursday, February 2nd, Camp 4. So we are resting in our tents, waiting to start tonight. Last night, the temperature fell to -6 degrees after the wind dropped. Today it is warm and calm. Impressions. The seductive folds of the sleeping bag, the hissing of the primus, and the fragrant steam of the cooker issuing from tent ventilator. The small green tent and the great white rod, the whine of a dog, and the neigh of our steeds, the driving cloud of powdered snow, the crunch of footsteps which break the surface crust, the wind-blown furrows, the blue arch beneath the smoky cloud, the crisp ring of ponies' hooves, and the swishing of the following sledge. The droning conversation of the march as driver encourages or chides his horses, the patter of dog pads, the gentle fluttering of our canvas shelter, its deep blooming sound under the full force of a blizzard, the drift snow like finest flowers penetrating every hole and corner, flickering up beneath one's head covering, pricking sharply as the sand blast, the sun with blurred image peeping shyly through the weathering drift, given pale shadowless light, the eternal silence of the great white desert, Cloudy columns of snow drift, advancing from the south, pale yellow wraths, heralding the coming storm, blotting out, one by one, the sharp-cut lines of the land, the blizzard, nature's protest, the crevice, nature's pitfall, the grim trap for the unwary. No hunter could conceal his snare so perfectly. The light rippled snow bridge gives no hint or sign of the hidden danger. Its position, unguessable, till man or beast is floundering, crawling and struggling from foothold on the brink. The vast silence broken only by the mellow sounds of the marching column. All right, then go ahead and then think about, why is this information or ideas important? How does the information I already know help me better understand the reading? Okay, this could also be, how do those pictures that I saw above help me understand and know what I'm reading in this journal entry? Okay, what is the text mainly about? So go ahead and pause the video, take some time. You can either think about it or you can jot down some of your answers to those questions. All right, now we're going to look at step 2. So return to the guiding questions handout. So again, that is what we're looking at here. Review the questions under language. Reread the passage and mark details you notice about the words or phrases that stand out to you. So if you look again, we're going to do the same thing I just did on the last one, where we read these questions. Then we thought about these questions as we read, and then when we finished reading the passage, we read and answered these questions. So what I want you to do is read this question, read the passage. When you're done reading the passage, see if you can answer some of these questions. So go ahead and pause it and do step 2 now. All right, step 3. Construct an objective summary of the text, focusing on the central idea and supporting details. All right, we talked about this last week in last week's video, but we're going to go over it quick again. Remember, central idea is when we think about the subject, so the person or thing the story is about, and what the author has to say about the subject, okay? So what was R.F. Scott talking about in his journal entry, and what does he have to say about that? So what is his subject, the person or the thing, and what does he have to say about that person or thing? Okay? Then, when you write an objective summary, remember, you need to stick to facts and information found in the story. You do not include your opinions or feelings, and do not use words like I, me, you, or your. Okay? Here's how you can start your paragraph. Remember, a paragraph at least needs to have an opening sentence, 3 supporting sentences, and 1 final sentence, closing sentence. So it should be 5 sentences at least in total. So open up the first sentence. You can say, oops, the central idea of this journal entry is. Then tell me what you think this central idea is, period. Now tell me how you know that that's a central idea. Give me 3 reasons why from the text. So you could say, R.F. Scott writes, okay, and tell me what information in there helped you know what the central idea of the passage was. Then give me a conclusion sentence, wrap it up, okay? All right, once you are done with that, you are done for the week, okay? Feel free to email me your work and I can look over it. I will have office hours tomorrow, so Thursday from 1 to 2. So I should be available on Teams, and if you see my little green check mark next to me, you can just chat me or you can just give me a call and we can video chat. If those times don't work for you, just give me an email and we can set up another time to meet, okay? All right. Bye, guys.